And we are back. And what I'm doing here is I'm just I switched over to the orbiter. Just to kind of give myself a better shot of getting into orbit with this thing instead of chasing it all day. I'm going to bring it right to where it's right around the lander. It doesn't take too long to get caught up to things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till the orbiter is pretty much right over me. And if I mess up, I can always go back and redo it. But I don't have to add a maneuver. I wanted to warp here. Have bad aim. So now I'm right over the lander. At which point I'm going to switch back over to the lander, which has Bob Kerbin waiting in it. And I'm going to try and launch up to it. Now, it's usually better to be behind it in the first place because even if at this I can be in a lower orbit and catch up to it. Worst case scenario, I'll push this up to a higher orbit and then come back down to that orbit. Like I said, worst case scenario. But for the most part, I'm ready to take off. So let's get this party started. We can get up and pretty much go right towards the horizon. I don't need to go up very high. I'm only going to go up to about 6 kilometers. And there is no atmosphere here. So, definitely in good shape on that. I can... Yeah, we've already gotten all that we can. Now I'm pretty high up. So essentially, since we are on an equatorial approach with this, I can pretty much point equatorial and everything should kind of match up. At some point, if this is my target, notice gonna be way behind it. So here's where I'm gonna be at the intersect point. And this is where the target is gonna be. Which is fine, because like I said, if I'm in a lower orbit, I can always just catch up with it. Right? If I can keep this heading, stay below it in orbit, and then attempt to catch up. So I'm gonna warp here. I'm already doing like 300-ish. Yeah, see where it ended up? So I'm gonna go prograde at the apoapsis. Try and get my circular orbit right around 46 to 48. It's fine with me. So let's come back around to here. And I'll be rising at the ascending node. So I want to warp just before that. And I'm going to fix our ascension. So I'm going to do an anti-normal. Am I doing, yeah, anti-normal direction. And I will just touch this up a little bit. So the target is now behind me. So I did kind of mess up by letting it get ahead of me. So I'm going to have to do some catch up again. Or, well, you know, leave it alone so I can catch up. Let's warp here. When we get there, we'll go retrograde, or prograde rather. We're going to boost ourselves up above their orbit. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I need it to catch up to me now. I got plenty of fuel to do this. Now I'm outside the orbit. Wait, retrograde. Because I'm at the periapsis. So if I warp to the apoapsis, warp here and then hit prograde, pretty much be pointing that direction. Right? We're going to push this up to 60. Won't cost much. And I'll be in a higher orbit. And I'll let that. Ooh. I like it. I'll be 8 kilometers away at this point. In 51 minutes. But I think what happens is if we go here and kind of slow down, I should get a really close encounter somewhere right around their periapsis, which is about the fastest point that they'll be going. Let's do that. Let's warp here. I'm going to do this without maneuver nodes, because I think I got a pretty good understanding of what's going on with it. But what I want to do is really right click here. And I want to go retrograde against my orbit because I want my orbit to touch theirs. So we're going to see. Start boosting up. Ooh, my encounter's getting further away. I think just going to have to go retrograde to the target. Fill off all my relative velocity. Now we're going to have to go towards it. There we go. So we'll start heading towards it. And since I've got it as a target... Where is he? There he is. We're heading towards the target because I have this at target mode at 39 meters per second. So let's speed up to that 5-minute mark that it said it would be there. Ish. We're within a kilometer now. It said I was only going to get 700 meters from it. So I'm going to kick this on, fill off all that relative velocity, and do the same trick again where I point towards the target. And get caught up with it. Fly towards it again. 20 meters per second would be acceptable. And point retrograde to get ready to slow down. Yeah, once you get a close encounter and a good rendezvous, you can pretty much kind of do these things. Pumping the brakes. Oop. I'm heading away. A little bit above it so I can push that purple marker into my prograde direction. And here I can get ready to just kill off the speed because 30 meters seems really good. Now I can go into RCS mode. That as my target, and I want to control from the Clampetron. The reason I want to do that okay. I think I'm in good shape on monopropel, but just in case. Just trying to push that center of my direction into that purple ball. And then kill off any relative velocity. And I know I'm doing that if I get either the prograde or the retrograde marker over that purple ball. The reason that's important because now I can go towards it. And as long as I keep that into that region, I think I'll be in good shape. So I kind of have to constantly correct as I move towards it, but I'm using the IKJL and the H and N to go forward and back. And I'm closing, my closing speed is like 0.3 meters per second. Which I might want to kill off once I get there. There we go. Once you get close enough, it takes over for you. Nice. So now we can do an EVA. We should be able to collect. Where am I? Let me get boarded again. I can take the data from this now, which is good. Kind of started to glitch out on me there, like that. Oop. One thing I do want to do is I kind of want to get this from this module. Download the data, and that'll retract the boom. And then I can store all of the science in here. Already did an EVA report from this height, so that looks like that's not going to bear any fruit. And we'll get boarded. Perfect. The last thing to do is to get rid of this lander. I can't take it back with me. But what I can do... Tracked all the stuff. I can put this on a collision course with the moon. But first, I want to get as much fuel back into this as I can, just so I never have to worry about running out, even though I have 1,033. But a trick that I can show you is that if you right click on a tank, and you hold Alt and right click on another tank, you can start to do fuel transfers through the docking ports. Now I have a lot of tanks on here, so there's going to be a lot of them. Do the in. On those. So I've gotten all the fuel out of that I can. I will close up the solar panels on that, and bid this adieu. So in the map screen, bring that down with a collision course. We will then undock. And turn prograde. Get it back up there. So there we are. The very last thing is going to be a return home. We'll do one more video and that'll be that.